Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike here. I got a couple of things I want to talk about with you today. This is really just almost like a commonly asked questions video. These are the questions that I get asked numerous times during the week over the course of any of my videos, no matter what they're about. I get asked these 10 questions over and over again. So I kind of want to take a minute to address some of those because I think it'll be fun. Let's get to it. All right, so we're just going to jump right into them. With the number one question that I get asked on this channel is, how do you read so fast? Guys, there's no secret to this. I've actually had people ask me, can you teach me? Can you tell me what your secret is? There's no secret. I've just read constantly for like 35 years. The only thing that's going to teach you to read faster is to read more, and I did that for a long, long time, and so it's never really been a problem for me. There's no secret there. As far as how much I'm able to consume, it's simple. When you get this age, you start to abandon the social life. You stop going to bars and things like that. I stopped watching as much TV and movies. My kids are the age where they're old enough to leave you alone, but they're not old enough where you can leave them at home alone yet. So I started reading even more than I usually did, and that's when I started this channel. So really, there's no secret to it. Practice makes perfect. But I know some people, you never get faster at reading, and I don't think that there's really a race involved with it. You shouldn't feel like it's a race to read. Where's the fire? To me, it's just I read fast, and that's one of the reasons why I can't really listen to audiobooks, because one, they're too slow, and two, I don't have reading ADD, but I do have listening ADD. And that brings me to question number two, and it is, do you think that audiobooks count as reading? I get people all the time, if they don't tell me to listen to audiobooks after I tell them that I really can't. And my thing with that is it's just I don't retain anything when I just listen to it. It comes from years of blocking out your children, and you can't turn that off after a while, I think. I don't know, because I feel like a lot of epic fantasy, you get a lot of names, a lot of locations, a lot of regions, a lot of nicknames, a lot of different languages. And I feel like I need to see those. I need to see those things to draw that correlation. Whereas when I'm just listening to it, I'll be like, what did he say? I don't know. At one ear, out the other. So that's why I don't really listen to audiobooks. As far as, do they count? I think so. I think any way that you can consume a story. I'm reading Harry Potter to my kid right now. Do I think that counts as him not reading it? I mean, he's listening to it. I think he's consuming the story. So sure, it counts. Who cares if it counts? If you're getting the story, I don't think it really matters. I do wish that I could do the audiobook, the things that people do, because I think about all the times during the day, if I, take a walk, or I'm doing the dishes, or I'm doing any kind of mundane chores that don't require a lot of brain power, it'd be really cool to listen to that. Me, I still listen to music when I do these things, so I'm fine. I'm not looking for a void to fill there. But yes, audiobooks very much count. I mean, think of someone who obviously is, vision impaired, or just they have ADD to where they can't read. And there's someone like me that's the opposite, where they can listen, but they can't read very well when it comes to retaining that information. So sure, it counts. I think it's really stupid to say it don't count. But to me, as long as you're consuming the story, it doesn't matter, right? I mean, look at what Joe Abercrombie said. He said with the last book that came out, Little Hatred, that there was more audiobook sales of it than physical book sales. That shows that it's a very, very big part of the reading community. So yes, it absolutely counts. The only time I get annoyed at audiobook readers is when they tell me I need to hurry up and read the book faster because they're already done, because they listened to it while they were at work for 9 hours that day. Obviously, there's no one-by-one comparison there. But yes, it does absolutely count as reading, and I don't see any reason why you would say it's not. Next up, where do you get your coffee mugs? This one has a different layer of answers, I think. I've gotten a lot of them off Amazon. I've gotten some just, I'm at a Ren Fair or something like that, and I see one that I like, and I'll pick it up. Got a couple off of eBay. Some people, there's gifts, or I was traveling or whatever. But there is a special little one that I want to kind of mention here. To me, as a Stephen King fan, I think the stunning shock of lack of Stephen King merchandise out there is actually kind of amazing. Especially if you think about how the guy just kind of had like a third renaissance here this late in his career due to the success of the box office success of It. So this guy, everything that he's written is either being remade or it's being optioned if it hasn't already been, or like I said, it's being remade. So I was stunned that I was not able to find a bunch of merch. So I went out looking for a Stephen King mug, a coffee mug, because if you don't know, I stopped drinking beer about 6 months ago. And it was around the time my wife had said, no new beer glasses, because if you ain't drinking beer anymore, what's the point of having all these beer glasses? Okay, so I counted with coffee mugs. So I started out just looking for this, and I found this lady called Lee, who runs a site called Creative Crafts, or Creatively Crafts. And so I saw this, and then I just kind of fell down the rabbit hole there and found a couple others of hers. I love the Red Rising saga, and she did this one, Gory Damn Good Coffee, and of course, The Witcher. Toss a coin to your Witcher, and a good old line from the TV show. So she does that. She does bookmarks, pennants, coffee mugs, and things like that. I'll put the link down below for you. It's a really great site. She does some incredible work. In the future, I'm going to have her do one of these J.R.R. Tolkien ones for me. It's right there. And then, I got something like this, which I got from the Dusty Wheel, the TV show, the YouTube show. So good guys, check them out. But yeah, really just, I see a coffee mug I like, I want to get it. But yeah, now that I found a site that does like book themed ones, I think that'll probably be expanding here in the near future. If you've ever visited one of my live streams, I think a question I get about every 4 minutes is, you love Stephen King, so can you tell me where I should start? I've even made a video on this channel about where you should start with Stephen King, but still the question I get the most, especially if I do a new Stephen King video, where should I start? Where should I start? It kind of feels like a program response to me at this point, but I just keep telling people lately, different seasons is the place to start, because not only is it 4 novellas, so it won't be anything that requires a heavy commitment. 2 of them are very, very familiar in our pop culture, and that is, of course, The Body, which you might know as Stand By Me, the movie, and Shawshank Redemption. So I think this is a good place for people to start with them, because it's not a heavy commitment. They're easy to read. There's not real scared. They're not real scary or anything like that. But then I tell people, if you're scared, you know what? Go for Pet Cemetery. Or you want to be scared, go for Pet Cemetery or Salem's Lot. If you want like the coming of age story, I would definitely say The Body in different seasons. Or if you want the coming of age story with the scares, It is by far the number one answer. If length doesn't bother you, I would say The Stand is very, very good. Same with 11/22/63. So it really just depends on what you're looking for, is always the answer I've been giving lately. If you want to be scared, there's something for that. If you want a detective mystery series, there's the Mr. Mercedes stuff. He's not just horror like everybody assumes that he is, like the reputation that he has, which is deserved. He made his name off of horror. So I get why people always assume everything he does is horror, but it's not. So really, it just depends what you're in the mood for. If you want to be scared, like I said, go that way. If you want drama, go this way. If you want coming of age stuff, go this way. But again, different seasons will be the best stepping ground for you. I did a video recently on The Dark Tower. A lot of people, since there's a lot of fantasy viewers on this channel, want to know if Dark Tower is a good place to start. I said that I wouldn't recommend it because there's a lot of references that you might not understand if you haven't read any other Stephen King. But a lot of comments I got in there was, hey, if you read Dark Tower first, then you get those references when you read those other Stephen King books. I guess that's fair. So really, your mileage is going to vary on that one. So that's where I would probably start there. Different seasons, I can't say enough about it. The bigger the channel gets, the more I get a question of, what do you think about this big booktube channel and this big booktube channel? I was like, I don't really have anything to add with those guys. I mean, they're doing very well on their own. They don't need my endorsement to keep going. So what I've told people is, I like to try to help some of these smaller channels that I feel like have good content, and they're just getting started and they're still growing. And I'd like to either help them, because there's a lot of people out there that make really good content and they don't get a lot of views at first. I mean, it took me 3 years before this channel took off. So they give up, and I want to encourage them not to give up. So I try to watch a lot of the smaller channels, or the new people. And so then the follow-up question is always, well, who are they? Who do you recommend? I got 5 of them here I want to talk about. Brian Lee Durfee, that's a published author. He wrote the 5 Warrior Angels series, which I haven't read yet. Sorry, Brian. He sent me the books and I haven't read them yet. He has a really good, published author, given his take, big Stephen King fan. He's going through basically the whole multiverse before I am, because I'm doing one a month, and he's doing he did like one every couple of days there for a while, but he does a lot of energy, high energy videos, and he does like a lot of countdowns, like 40 best science fiction books, stuff like that. But hearing these things from an author's perspective is really, really cool. I really appreciate that. Another one is Raven Bell Books. I discovered her on the Discord. She posts some of her videos on there. I like what she does is she's doing Wheel of Time, and she's doing videos like by chapter sections. I just did one for each book, and she's going by chapter section. I feel like that kind of helps eliminate all the people that would jump on there and be like, hey, but you forgot to talk about this, 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 and this. And I'd be like, look, this is like these are big books, so I missed some things. So I really appreciate that she does that, and I think she has a very approachable channel as well. Knickknack's Corner, friend of the channel. This dude is a reading machine. He's probably the only one who doesn't ask me how I read so fast, because he reads faster. He works in a bookstore. I think he's told me before that basically his channel, his paycheck at that bookstore is just basically direct credit to buy the books. But he's the one who's encouraged me to keep going with Witcher and finish Witcher, because he really liked that. But I think you'll like his channel. And also a newer channel. He's about 2,000 subs, so I don't know if I'm ready to say he's one of the lesser channels. But Iskar Jarek, I plan to start reading Malazan sometime next year, and I think for newbies to Malazan, it's a really good channel, because he has the, basically like I do, with the why you should read it, why this is something that's going to relate to you, non-spoiler kind of encouragement to help you get going, because apparently it's a big heavy read. And but then as you start, he's doing like kind of like my friend Raven Bell there did, where they're just kind of going by chapter sections of each book, spoilers. Basically, it's something to help, a support group to keep you going, because a lot of people tap out on Malazan really early, and apparently the payoffs are really worth it. So I think that's a really good start. And his production quality is really good, and you can tell he spends a lot of time on his videos, researching and stuff before he presses record, and he doesn't ramble like me, so that helps, right? How many rock tees do you own? I'm not someone who really goes out and buys a bunch of rock and roll t-shirts or comic book t-shirts or Star Wars t-shirts or whatever. I can't remember the last time I actually bought a t-shirt, to be honest with you. Thing is in September 2018, my wife and I decided we were going to try keto. If you don't know what keto is, that is a eating plan. And it worked for us like crazy. And combined, we lost like 160 pounds together. And I all of a sudden found this back wardrobe that I had from when I was a teenager, where I was buying a new Rock t-shirt every week, So it might look like I have like this infinite supply of rock and roll t-shirts. They're just from when I was a teenager, so now I can fit them again. So it's like finding a new casual wardrobe that you didn't even know that you had. I do still buy Chuck Taylors though, so I guess that counts. Oh, this is a good one. Why don't you like the YA genre? Now, what I've said is, look, I don't care if you like it. I think it's awesome that people are reading of all ages. I don't care if you're reading the Reader's Digest while you sit on the toilet, as long as people are reading, because less and less people, especially in the States, are reading less than ever before. So I am always going to encourage reading, and if YA is your jam, awesome. I'm happy for you. I think it's excellent. It's just not for me. And here's the thing. There is some YA that I like. People argue that the Star Wars EU novels were EA. People argue that Brandon Sanderson is YA. So I'm not saying I'm completely averse to it. What I'm saying is I don't like certain YA tropes, like the love triangle, like the insta-love, like the overpowered characters and the wish fulfillment that makes no sense whatsoever. And most times, the agenda that is shoved into a lot of YA books, especially nowadays. It's not when I read fantasy, man, I want that escape world. I don't want something that's so unrealistic, it just takes me out of it. So that's been my problem with YA over the years. And I know that, one of my earlier videos on this channel was me talking about The Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini. And I love Harry Potter. So, I guess you would say that I don't hate the YA genre. It's just I hate specific tropes of the YA genre. And I think that's true with any genre. Fantasy has those tropes you can't stand. Sci-fi has it. It's not something that's just exclusive to YA. It's certain writing mechanics that I don't like. And I feel like YA does them way more frequently than that. And also, I'm over sexy vampires. I'm just not into it anymore. Sorry, guys. I got over that during the Anne Rice years. Oh, I get asked this one at least once a video, and it is, do you ever plan to write your own book? I think I might be the only YouTuber out there, or booktuber rather, who has no interest in writing their own book. Because the reason that I read as much as I do, I could not tell a story to save one of my children's lives. I have no storytelling ability whatsoever. If I try to write a book, all it would be is straight plagiarism of Dune and Star Wars and something else I'd throw in there, some fantasy elements I would throw in there to try to make my own story. And then a lot of people say, that's all anybody does. Yeah, well, I don't want to do that because the last thing I want to be called is an unoriginal hack. So I'm not ever going to write my own book unless it's my memoirs, which I think would be interesting to no one at all. So, yeah, no, I will not be writing my own book. This is a good one. If I had a channel about something other than books, what would it be about? It would be what this channel was before it switched to a BookTube channel. I ran a podcast for 3 years called Geek Media Core, where we just talked about nerd culture and things that were popular now and then, and things that we think will be popular maybe in the future. Comic books, movies, TV, video games, cartoons, you name it. That's just all we talked about. So it would be just doing that, because honestly, guys, running a podcast much easier than running a YouTube channel, really. Much less post-production. But I think that's what helped me not be afraid to talk in front of the camera. Like some people, when they first get started, you can tell that they're stuttering a lot, they're having a lot of problems with their speech, and they're nervous and stuff like that. Whereas I didn't have that, because I podcasted for like almost a decade before I did this, and I think that helped me fill out the blank spaces. So yeah, if I had a channel other than that, it would just be straight nerdy stuff, But I've become kind of jaded on a lot of that stuff, but that's a conversation for another time. But really, that's why I do the weekly update videos, is so I can talk about something other than books once in a while, because I try to stay on brand. My mission statement here is stay on brand, which is talking about books. But the weekly updates give me a little bit about, hey, I did this, I watched this movie, there's this news about this actor being cast in this, here's my thoughts on it, things like that. That's fun. I love talking about stuff like that. I love geeking out with you guys about books, but I love geeking out with you guys about anything. It's just fun to talk about any form of entertainment, really. And the last one, I've been getting this one since I started reading Wheel of Time, and that was, when are you going to read Malazan? Well, you're in luck. January of 2021, we are starting a group read on the channel, and it's got a lot of people already on board. In fact, we're doing another group read as a lead up to that. We're doing the Great Coat series by Sebastian de Castell as kind of a practice round, I guess you speak. So we don't have any glitches, and we're trying to fix it on the run with that reread or that group read. So I figured that was the best way to do it. But the Malazan question gets answered. We're starting in January. It is going to be a slower read because it is a group thing, and I don't want anyone feeling like they're left behind. But again, watch that video if you want explanation for why that group read is going to last 2 years. So it's going to be very ambitious and very fun, but I'm glad to finally be checking the Malazan box off of the request list. That one, and I think Robin Hobb's Realm with the Elderlings, which I'm also starting, but I don't have a real hard schedule for that. I'm just starting with Farseer. But those two I get asked about the most, but I'm starting Robin Hobb at the same time next year, in between those Malazan books. So that really is the most, pretty much the most common questions that I get almost every video on the channel. It's not a I'm tired of answering these questions kind of thing. I'm just trying to kind of compile them in one section for people if they wanted to know what some of the questions I get asked a lot are. Not necessarily before they ask them, because I know I'll still get them, but I figured it'd be a good talking point, because I know this week was really heavy with Dresden Files stuff, and not everyone's into Dresden Files, not everyone's into Stephen King, so I wanted to get something up to talk to you guys about besides those things. But that's it, guys. We're going to do the weekly update tomorrow, and then next week I got a few surprises on the channel. Make sure you watch the weekly update on Friday to know what those surprises are going to be, and I will talk to you there.